chances are that you will return with a wife. That's because not only are the women in Madagascar beautiful, due to their unique genes that are a combination of African, Asian, and Arab, but there is also a culture where Madagascar women are presented to foreigners. Yet, it does not stop here. This isolated island nation has a rich culture and unseen biodiversity due to its remoteness, besides shocking cultural practices. From exhuming the bodies of their elders for honor to allowing young couples to live together and have sexual relationships, to have children before marriage, Madagascar is quite a different place than you think. But what more you should know about the life and culture in Madagascar? Welcome to a new episode of Black Afric Diary, a channel where we talk about Black African history, culture, arts, and civilization. It's a place where you will see the real picture of Black Africa, its stories, and the events defining it. In this episode, we will tell you about the unheard and shocking facts about Madagascar. Let's get started. Number 1. The fourth largest island in the world. Madagascar is the fourth largest island on Earth and is more than just a geographical marvel. It's a world apart, a land that has lived in isolation for millions of years, cut off from the rest of the planet's evolution. Most talk about Madagascar's biodiversity like it's a common fact, but few grasp the ancient secret of its existence. This landmass split from the Indian subcontinent 88 million years ago, and from Africa another 165 million years before that. It's as if the island was deliberately left to carve out its own evolution, resulting in creatures and landscapes that look like they belong to another dimension. Madagascar's isolation gave birth to the Tsingy, sharp, jagged limestone karsts rising like blade spires from the earth, forming impenetrable stone forests that even the boldest human explorer can barely pass through. Its geographic isolation also shaped its people. Madagascar has 18 distinct ethnic groups, each with its own language, customs, and ancient traditions. The largest, the Merina, once ruled this island before the invading European forces ever set foot here. Number 2. Lifestyle in Madagascar. The lifestyle in Madagascar, particularly in rural areas, revolves around community, family, and tradition. In most rural regions, life centers on village communities where agriculture is the primary source of livelihood. Crops such as rice, maize, and cassava form the staple diet, and farming is typically carried out using traditional methods passed down through generations. Livestock, especially zebu cattle, play an important role in Malagasy life, serving not only as a source of income and labor, but also as symbols of wealth and social status. In contrast, urban areas like the capital, Antananarivo, and the port city of Toamasina offer a more modern and fast-paced lifestyle. People in cities are more likely to work in professions such as business, education, and government, reflecting Madagascar's gradual shift towards modernization. However, despite the economic and social changes seen in urban areas, traditional values continue to hold strong. Respect for elders, the importance of family, and maintaining close social bonds remain integral to daily life, both in rural villages and bustling cities. One thing that remains constant throughout the country is the warm and welcoming nature of the Malagasy people. Whether in a rural village or a busy urban center, community spirit and hospitality are deeply ingrained in the culture. Social gatherings, especially during festivals and ceremonies, are common and are typically marked by music, dancing, and feasting. These events serve as opportunities for families and communities to come together, reinforcing the strong social ties that are a hallmark of Malagasy life. Number 3. The reign of Queen Ranavalona, Bars, Madagascar's Mad Queen, who held back a continent. There are ruthless rulers, and then there's Queen Ranavalona the Fars, whose reign over Madagascar from 1828 to 1861 sent shivers through anyone brave enough to challenge her authority. And she was right to do so because she was saving her country from the European colonizers. Therefore, she did not tolerate even a minor act that hinted at rebellion. She wasn't just a queen, she was Madagascar's brutal shield, fiercely keeping out European influence at any cost. While Europe was carving up Africa, Queen Ranavalona stood in their way, so much so that she earned the nickname Mad Queen or Bloody Mary of Madagascar. But these were the names for Europeans only. Anyone who helped Europeans was instantly punished. They did not face a judge. They were given poison from the tangina nut. An accused had to eat 3 pieces of chicken skin first, and if they vomited those skins intact, they were innocent. If not, they were guilty and likely dead. Thousands perished under this nightmarish justice system, where innocence or guilt was decided by the poison's whim. But there's a paradox here. While she was fiercely isolating Madagascar from Europe, she was also protecting her kingdom's sovereignty, something that even modern Malagasy people look back on with a mixture of fear and reverence. Her reign may have been bloody, but it kept the island independent for decades longer than any other African nation, free from missionaries, traders, and colonizers, eager to strip the island of its wealth. She also fortified the kingdom's military and managed to play European powers like a game of chess. After her death, the door to European influence swung wide open, but for 33 years, Ranavalona, I made sure Madagascar remained hers. Number 4. Pirates of Madagascar. Forget about Golden Age piracy being confined to the Caribbean. In the 17th and 18th centuries, Madagascar was a pirate's paradise, a lawless haven where some of the most feared pirates in history made their base. Thanks to its position in the Indian Ocean, Madagascar was right along the shipping routes between Europe, Africa, and Asia, and that meant rich, fat trading ships ripe for plundering. Names like Captain William Kidd and Olivier Levasseur haunted the coasts of Madagascar. These pirates didn't just sail through, they lived here, establishing settlements along the island's remote shores, sometimes marrying into Malagasy tribes and creating a unique cultural fusion that still lingers along the coastline today. They blended in so well that they left behind more than just stories of plunder, they left bloodlines. And then there's the myth of Libertalia, the ultimate pirate utopia, supposedly founded in northern Madagascar. It's said to have been a democratic haven where pirates lived free from European rule, sharing their plunder and living in equality. Though most historians dismiss it as a legend, the idea of Libertalia has burned into pirate lore, becoming one of the enduring mysteries of Madagascar's past. Today, the legacy of pirates lives on in places like Ile Sainte-Marie, where pirate graves still dot the landscape, including the infamous grave of Olivier Levasseur. But what about the treasure he supposedly left behind? Still undiscovered? Still waiting for some brave soul to unearth it. Every year, pirate festivals celebrate Madagascar's dark, swashbuckling history, reminding us that this island wasn't just a kingdom of kings and queens. It was once a kingdom of outlaws and rogues, too. Number 5. Vazaha marriages. In Madagascar, particularly along the tourist-heavy coastal regions like Nosy Be and Antsiranana, there's a trend that's hard to miss. Malagasy women marrying foreign men, often referred to as Vazaha. At first glance, it might seem like any typical cross-cultural union. But peel back the layers, and you will find a complex web of motivations, power dynamics, and societal shifts that many prefer not to talk about. Vazaha is a term that traditionally refers to foreigners, particularly Europeans. As regions like Nosy Be have grown in popularity, so too has the influx of European men, many seeking companionship or something more long-term. For local Malagasy women, marrying a Vazaha often opens doors, access to wealth, opportunities abroad, and a standard of living that far exceeds what local men can typically provide. In some cases, these marriages may be driven by genuine affection. But for many, marriage is more of a contract, a way to secure financial stability, not just for the woman, but for her family as well. It's not uncommon for families to encourage relationships with Vazaha, seeing them as a ticket out of poverty. This can raise eyebrows both locally and internationally, sparking debates about whether these unions are based on true emotional connections or if they are merely transactional arrangements. But marrying a Vazaha isn't always celebrated. In many rural Malagasy communities, particularly where traditional values still hold strong, marrying a foreigner can stir up conflict. Loyalty to one's ethnic group and adherence to age-old customs often clash with the perceived economic advantages of marrying a Vazaha. These women may face judgment from their peers, accused of abandoning their cultural roots for wealth. The issue becomes more than just a marriage. It becomes a statement about what Malagasy society values. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. Number 6. Madagascar's isolation and unknown animal and plant species. Well, Madagascar isn't just an island. It's an evolutionary experiment that's been running in isolation for 88 million years. Once it broke off from the African mainland, this massive landmass became a biological sanctuary, a place where the rules of evolution seem to go away, creating plants and animals that exist nowhere else on Earth. Think of Madagascar as a living laboratory, with nature running wild and unchecked by the rest of the world's influence. Take lemurs, for instance. These charismatic primates have become the poster children for Madagascar's biodiversity, and for good reason. With over 100 species spread across the island, they range from the tiny mouse lemur to the majestic Indri, a lemur species known for its haunting whale-like calls. Lemurs aren't just adorable faces, they are the lifeblood of Madagascar's forests. As seed dispersers, they play a critical role in maintaining the health of the island's forests. And here's something the world rarely talks about. Lemurs are sacred. In Malagasy culture, particularly among ethnic groups like the Betsimisaraka and Sakalava, lemurs are believed to be spirits of ancestors. It's forbidden to harm them, and doing so could bring misfortune not just to the individual, but to the entire community. But if lemurs are Madagascar's stars, then the fossa is its unsung predator. Resembling a mongoose crossed with a small puma, the fossa is the island's apex predator. Agile, elusive, and powerful, it's a specialist in hunting lemurs, keeping their populations in check. Few outside Madagascar even know the fossa exists, but on this island, it rules the forest with stealth and precision. Then come chameleons. This island is home to half of the world's chameleon species, including the tiny Brookesia micra, a reptile so small it can fit on the tip of a matchstick. On the other hand, you have the panther chameleon, whose vibrant colors are practically art in motion. Then there's the flora. Madagascar is one of the few places where you will find the baobab tree, the so-called tree of life, which stores massive amounts of water in its trunk to survive Madagascar's dry seasons. Some of these trees are over 1,000 years old, their twisted branches looming like ancient guardians over the island's dehydrated landscapes. Locals use the baobab fruit for medicinal purposes, and many communities regard the trees as spiritual totems, places where the earthly and spiritual worlds converge. Interestingly, there are over 15,000 plant species in Madagascar, and 80% of them are found nowhere else on Earth. Number 7. Tsingy de Bemaraha. Imagine a place so rough, so dangerous, that even nature itself seems to have declared it off limits. This is the Tsingy de Bemaraha, Madagascar's natural stone fortress, where sharp limestone pinnacles stretch towards the sky like the teeth of some ancient sleeping giant. Rising up to 100 meters, these rocky spires make up one of the most hostile yet mesmerizing terrains on the planet. The name Tsingy itself is a warning, derived from the Malagasy word for where one cannot walk barefoot. And for good reason. These razor-sharp formations are as dangerous as they are beautiful. Carved out over millions of years by relentless water erosion, this UNESCO World Heritage Site spans over 666 square kilometers of labyrinthine stone, treacherous ridges, and deep crevices. It's a place that defies human intrusion, yet thrives with an astounding collection of life. Yes, while the Tsingy might look like a stone jungle devoid of life, it's actually a biodiversity hotspot. Life has found a way to adapt, to evolve in this inhospitable terrain. Lemurs, the island's nimble primates, leap between jagged cliffs with a grace that's almost mocking to human visitors struggling across suspension bridges. The fossa, Madagascar's top predator, silently prowls through the area, hunting lemurs with surgical precision. Rare species of reptiles and birds make this stone jungle their home, thriving in the shadow of the Singhi's ancient spires. Passing through the Singhi de Bamaraha isn't for the faint-hearted. You are forced to cross narrow pathways, cling to jagged rocks, and traverse suspended bridges that dangle over steep drops into the abyss. And despite the growing interest from adventurers, there are still parts of the Singhi that remain unexplored, with hidden caves that may hold the secrets of Madagascar's past. Some historians believe these natural fortresses were used as refuges by ancient Malagasy people during times of conflict, a stone stronghold in a hostile world. Number 8. Vanilla capital of the world. You might sprinkle it on your dessert or add a splash to your coffee, but vanilla, real vanilla, isn't just any spice. It's Madagascar's lifeblood, and the island isn't just a major player in the vanilla trade, it rules the world. Producing around 80% of the globe's vanilla supply, Madagascar's northeastern region, particularly Sava, is the beating heart of the vanilla industry. And we are not talking about any vanilla. We are talking about bourbon vanilla, the gold standard of the spice world. But behind this coveted flavor lies a process so grueling that it's no wonder vanilla is one of the most expensive spices on the market. Each orchid flower that produces vanilla blooms for just a single day, a brief window in which Malagasy farmers must painstakingly hand-pollinate them. If they miss that fleeting moment, the chance to harvest vanilla is gone for the year. Once pollinated, the vanilla pods undergo a long and complex curing process where they are blanched, sun-dried, and stored until they develop their signature flavor. Number 9. The Zebu economy. Forget banks, forget digital currencies. On Madagascar, the Zebu cattle are the real stock market. This isn't just livestock, it's currency, social status, a spiritual offering, and raw power wrapped into a one-humped beast. If you think your salary or the size of your house matters, Madagascar has one word for you: Zebu. Owning these sacred cattle is more than just a way to survive economically. It's a ticket to untouchable prestige. In Madagascar's rural areas, particularly among the Bara, Betsileo, and Antandroy ethnic groups, the Zebu is the true marker of wealth. That's because your status depends on how many Zebu cattle you can offer as dowry, how many you sacrifice to honor your ancestors, and how many graze your land, showcasing your status to the community. Therefore, a groom with a large herd of Zebu means he is practically royalty, signaling to his bride's family that he can more than provide, he can dominate. In Madagascar, the Zebu also takes on a spiritual role. In a world where ancestors control the fate of the living, the Zebu becomes the sacred currency to ask for blessings, protection, and guidance. The Zebu is also hard labor. These animals are the backbone of Madagascar's agricultural economy, plowing fields and transporting goods. They are the original all-terrain vehicles in a land where owning Zebu isn't just about status, it's about survival. And in a country like Madagascar, where the land can be as unforgiving as the economy, the Zebu's resilience becomes indispensable. Number 10. Famadihana. Famadihana, or the turning of the bone ceremony, is where everything you thought you knew about death goes out the window. The Malagasy people don't mourn their dead with quiet, solemn ceremonies. No, they dig them up, rewrap them in silk, and throw a party that makes most weddings look tame. And yes, they dance with the corpses. Outsiders might be horrified at the sight of families joyfully parading their dead ancestors through the village. But this isn't dreadful. This is love, Malagasy style. The dead aren't gone, they are just on the other side, and the Malagasy have no intention of leaving them there in silence. The Famadihana is about keeping the connection strong, keeping the ancestors in the loop, and ensuring they know they are still very much a part of the family. It's a family reunion. This ritual happens every 5 to 7 years, with families saving up for months to make sure they can celebrate their ancestors in style. Forget memorial services and tombstones. This is ancestor worship on a whole different level. Families dig up their loved ones, dress their bones in fresh silk coverings, and dance with them to music, all while celebrating with food, drinks, and community. The idea is simple. If you take care of the dead, they will take care of you. Don't honor them, and you might find yourself on the wrong end of a string of bad luck, infertility, or worse. Number 11. Astrological marriage matching in rural Madagascar. In the rural areas of Madagascar, marriages are rarely finalized without consulting a Mpanandro, a traditional astrologer. Astrological marriage matching plays a central role in Malagasy culture, especially in the countryside, where spiritual beliefs are deeply embedded in everyday life. Families place immense trust in the Mpanandro to determine a couple's compatibility and select the most auspicious date for their wedding. Astrology is believed to offer insights into the future of the couple, ensuring a harmonious and prosperous marriage. The practice is highly spiritual, and families rely on the astrologer's wisdom to guide them in such significant decisions. The Mpanandro carefully examines celestial alignments, birth dates, and other astrological elements to predict the likelihood of a successful union. If the stars indicate unfavorable outcomes, the marriage may be postponed or even canceled, depending on the astrologer's guidance. Many rural families will not move forward with wedding plans until they receive the Mpanandro's approval. This reliance on astrology extends far beyond the wedding day. The astrologer may also advise the couple on the best times to have children, make important financial decisions, or even move into a new home. For many, following the Mpanandro's advice brings a sense of comfort and assurance, as failing to heed the astrologer's guidance is believed to bring misfortune or hardship to the family. Number 12. Polygamy and bride price. In rural parts of Madagascar, particularly in the southern regions and among more traditional communities, polygamy remains a common practice, especially for wealthier or more influential men. In these societies, polygamy is often linked to a man's status, wealth, and social standing. Having multiple wives is seen as a symbol of success, and a man's ability to provide for several families is a clear demonstration of his economic power and influence within the community. A significant part of Malagasy marriage customs involves the lobola, or bride price. The lobola is not merely a financial transaction, but a meaningful gesture of respect that helps to forge strong alliances between families. Typically, the bride price is paid in cattle or money, and the amount depends on several factors, including the status of both families, the groom's wealth, and the social standing of the bride's family. In many regions, zebu cattle are a common part of this exchange. The more zebu a man can offer, the higher his perceived status, earning him greater respect from both families and the community at large. Number 13. Sexual customs before marriage. Among the Antandroy and other traditional communities in southern Madagascar, there are unique sexual customs that may surprise those from more conservative cultures. One particularly notable practice is the tradition of couples living together before marriage, which might resemble what some would call trial marriages. In these communities, it's common for couples to cohabitate and even have children before formalizing their union through marriage. This tradition stems from a deeply held belief that fertility and compatibility are essential for a successful marriage. In fact, in some communities, proving fertility by having children before the official wedding can be seen as a way to ensure the marriage will be fruitful. These customs emphasize the high value placed on family continuity and the critical role children play in Malagasy society. Fertility is viewed as a blessing, and a couple's ability to have children is considered one of the most important aspects of their relationship. For the Antandroy and other southern tribes, this practice reflects a pragmatic and flexible approach to relationships. Marriage is not seen as the beginning of a relationship, but rather as a confirmation of a bond that has already been established through cohabitation and the couple's ability to start a family. This contrasts sharply with the more formal and ceremonial approach to marriage found in other parts of the world, where the wedding marks the official start of a partnership. Have you ever been to Madagascar, experienced its rich culture, and met its loving and welcoming people? What do you love the most about Madagascar and the biodiversity it has found nowhere else? In the comment section right below, share your thoughts on the unique cultural practices in Madagascar that people hold dear, but outsiders criticize. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.